So, leading on from yesterday's live, I wanted to record another one because yesterday I talked about the three main feelings that your clients have to have in order to say yes from you, in order to feel comfortable enough to be a yes on a sales conversation or even through your content, which was certainty, confidence, and no, hang on, certainty, trust, and safety. So, certainty in the thing that you're offering and in you, trust that it's going to work, trust in themselves that they can do it, and safety, so how comfortable they feel. So those are the three things that they must be experiencing and feeling. But I wanted to get really specific with you. Again, this came from the teaching that I put on for my friend Ruth in her amazing program, and I thought it would be super helpful to share it with you as well. So there are 4 questions that your clients have in their mind whenever they're engaging with you, whenever they are considering taking you up on an offer, even if that offer is just reading a post, even if the offer is literally for them to just engage with you, there's always 4 questions in their mind. And if you're not aware of these questions, and if you don't know how to answer these questions for them, they will remain watchers, they'll remain observers for your content, they won't engage, and also they won't take the next step. So it's really important, and I don't think you may not have heard this in this way. So I hope this is really helpful. I hope you can take this and literally apply it in your content today, or in your sales page, or in any sales conversation that you're having coming up. So the 4 questions are: will it work? That's the thing that we have to remember. All our clients are worried about. Their main concern is, will this work? So the number 1 question is, will it work? Second question is, will this work for me specifically, with my special, unique blend of circumstances, the situation I'm in, the doubts I have, the fears I have, my past experience. Like, we all think that we're very special in that there is like a unique set of circumstances that only we have, and that makes us different from everybody else, when in fact it's not true. Most of it is that we're very much the same as everyone. But your clients will be thinking, but will this work for me specifically? Oh no, you don't understand, like, I'm different, I'm special. That's what your clients think, that's what we think as humans, isn't it? So that's the second question that you have to answer. The third question is, okay, it does work, but how exactly does it work? It's not enough to show somebody that it works. You have to literally explain the process that they would have to go through in order for them to get the results. You would have to show them the step by step of how you get from point A to point B. If there's no in between, they're left feeling really confused. And again, it goes back to question 2. Oh, but that won't work for me, because there isn't a clear path through. So they can't imagine themselves doing it. Therefore, they're out. Like, they won't even take the next step. They won't even engage because they don't think it's for them. They can't see how it works. So that's the question 3. How does it work? Which is essentially your process. And then the 4th question is, what will I lose? Or what will I have to give up? Or what will it take? What will I have to sacrifice? We are hardwired to look for danger and look for risk. We're hardwired to see what we stand to lose versus what we stand to gain. It's just the human condition. We're not naturally wired to always see what we stand to gain. You have to almost train your mind the other way, especially when you're coming to investing in stuff. Because our predisposition is to look at everything that we might potentially lose, it takes dedication and discipline in your brain to train it to, and here's all the stuff that I stand to gain. But because of our natural inclination to look for loss and to be averse to loss, that has to be in your marketing. Of course, you can talk about all the things they can gain as well, but it will be more compelling and more effective if you can just reassure the fears and the worries about the fact they won't have to lose anything. So if you can answer those questions, so if the question in their head is, what do I stand to lose, or what will I have to give up? You have to answer that in your content, or you have to answer that on your sales call and show them, in fact, they're not going to lose what they think they're going to lose. That's just a mistake. They stand to gain all of these other things. What if you can take them there? So I'm going to show you how to answer these, giving an example of like what that might look like. So this first one, will it work? This is where you get to show people that it does work. Yes, it works, and here's why. You know, that leading on from yesterday, that certainty that you have to understand that it works. You have to know that it works so you can tell somebody else. If you don't believe that it works, it's impossible to answer this question, because you'll be like, well, I don't know, it might work. And then your client's like, oh no, I can't do this because it's too risky. Again, thinking about our natural inclination to look for loss and look for danger, they're immediately out. So working on this stuff for you is super important. Understanding that your offer gets results. How does it get results? Like, does this work? Do you have evidence that this works? Even if the evidence is from you, even if the evidence is just your own experience of applying something and getting a different result, you can use that and be like, this works because of X, Y, Z. Will it work? You want the answer to be very much so, yes, it works, and here's why, with that certainty. So the second one, will it work for me? When your client's worried about, yes, but I'm different, like I'm a special case, I have a different set of fears, you know, nothing's worked before, they may have a hangover from before of like past experiences that didn't work out. So how do you address those? You give examples. Yes, this will even work for you if, and then you can give examples. So an example that I use is when my clients are thinking, but will this work for me because I'm short on time? That's a really like main concern that my clients have, because they're busy women, they may have families, other commitments, they may be working part-time, they may be doing other things. So that is a huge thing at the top of their mind, like the time problem. So I just show them how that the time problem is not a thing. I show them how spending an hour together in this like really focused container saves them at least 6 to 8 hours a week of procrastinating, staying stuck, doing other things that's not work, or doing things that you think are effective but is not going to create money. So I just show them, yes, this will work for you even if you have 10 hours a week that you're working in your business, and here's why. Again, you need to knock down these objections and these questions in their mind to make people feel really certain and safe. So the third one is, how does it work? So understanding how your process does get results is really important. It's great to have a process, and I highly encourage you, if you are a coach or a consultant, even a service provider, like even if you're doing a service that's, you know, done for a client, there is still a process. There's still something that you go through. There has to be a structure that your clients can wrap their brain around so that they know which part is on them, which part's on you, how it's going to look, what ingredients is required, all of the things. So you need to have the step-by-step process. But more importantly than having the process, you need to, as the person running the business, you need to know really deeply why that does work, because that is the question they will have. They'll look at a process, they'll look at a step-by-step and be like, this all sounds great, but how does that actually get the results? So you need to know that for yourself. So it's almost like step one is we work on your awareness. And this is really important, because when you have awareness of the habits or the patterns of thought that have been keeping you stuck, you can get distance from them, and you can get to see if you like them or not, and you get the option to change them. So that's an example of the step, having awareness, and why it works. Does that make sense? So just understanding that, yes, it's great to have a process, like 3 or 4 steps that you take your clients through, but it's so much more important that you really understand why that's there. Like, what is the reason for that being there, and why is it so helpful? If you took that away, it would mean that your client didn't get the results, essentially. Every single step in your process has to be that important and crucial. So you need to really get good at understanding, so why is that there? Like, what happens if I took that away? And why does them doing this thing absolutely have to happen? And how does it create that result? So it's a little bit of extra legwork on your part, granted, but it's very much worth it, because when you can talk about it like that and answer questions like that, maybe it's on a sales conversation and someone's got a question about one of the steps, they're like, I just don't really understand this, can you explain it in more detail, or how does this help me? Then you have the answer. So it's well worth doing. So that's number 3, how does it work? And then number 4, like addressing the, oh hi Camilla, addressing the what do I stand to lose question. So how do you reassure your client when they're thinking in their mind, yes, but what do I have to give up? So what is your answer for that? And for me, it's always about demonstrating to your client that there may be an error in what they're thinking. Their brain is offering them a worst case scenario, and it's kind of on you to really address that worst case and be like, okay, this isn't a thing, this doesn't happen, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. So using my own business as an example, what my clients are probably most scared that they'll lose is money. They're like, they have a fear, maybe it's conscious or subconscious, that they'll pay me money, they'll invest, and they'll lose that money. So they'll be like further back than when they started. They will be like money spent and money invested, and they won't be further along. It won't work, and they will have lost money. Like that's their worst case scenario. So then it's on me to just point out how that can't possibly happen, basically. Like, why is that not a thing that ever happens? And that's on you as the business owner and the service provider to just kind of gently and lovingly be like, okay, let's just model this out. Let's pretend that is the worst case scenario. How could that be possible? And then you just get to show them how it's not a thing. Like, it's when you sell with integrity, when you know what you have to offer is very good, when you've done this work to answer those first 3 questions, the 4th is not a thing. So and it's just on you to really reassure and have that certainty. Like, you may have a fear XYZ, but let me show you how, even if, let's say, like, I'm gonna just play along, even if, say, you didn't make the progress that you expected in the first 3 months, how is it still that you're further along than you would have been without doing this? And then you get to use your brain to come up with those answers, to troubleshoot those answers. And it's also on you to offer them through what do they stand to gain. Because our brains don't naturally go to what we stand to gain, especially if we're like grappling with a problem and we're kind of really focused on the problem when we're in that place. It's very hard to take your brain to like, oh, it's going to be amazing and shiny and happy and I'm going to be making all the money and it's all going to be easy. That's just too far for your clients to get to. And whatever it is that you do, like, the best case scenario is probably too much of a jump. So you have to show them what is the next step up and the next step up. Like, just imagine if this thing was solved, what would that look like? Just imagine if this next piece was solved, how would you feel then? It's just about showing them what they stand to gain versus what they stand to lose. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember the 4 questions that your clients are thinking. Will it work? Will it work for me with my special set of circumstances? How does it work? Like, what's your process and why is it like that? Really important. It's not enough just to have a process. You have to understand what part each part plays and why that's really important to the end result. And then, what do I stand to lose? When your client's thinking that, it's your job to show them that they don't stand to lose. And I think they're never going to be further behind than now. Essentially, they're not going to lose, they're not going to be set back, and they stand to gain instead. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you need help with any of these parts of your marketing or if you're selling, book a free consultation. I do these all the time. This is what I help my clients with, to show up really powerfully with that certainty and confidence in their messaging, in their marketing, and on sales calls, so you can have a really efficient, effective conversation with potential clients and sign more. So book a free consultation if that sounds interesting. DM me and we'll just schedule a time. Have a fabulous day. Bye.